guys, welcome back to my channel, Earth and Medicine. My name is Darlene and I'm going over my lesson with my horse Sunny today. So I've had my horse Sunny for about 2 weeks. He is a 6-year-old Welsh pony gelding. So I've been doing a lot of groundwork with him using the Clinton Anderson down under horsemanship method. I've been doing lots of desensitizing, a lot of respect training, just getting his feet moving, and I've been getting him prepared for training under saddle. So today I'm actually going to ride Sunny, and I have gotten on him before, pretty much just standing, and he was on a lead line with my boyfriend Tristan helping me. Today Tristan is working on desensitizing before I start doing the lunging for respect, and then Tristan will actually help me. Once I get on, he's going to be lunging me and just keeping me on, at first, a short lead line, and then he'll let me all the way out on it, and eventually I will just ride Sunny without the lead line, and I'll be doing a lot of walking and trotting work and working on one rein stops and changing direction. So I start off with lunging for respect, stage 1. So I point up in the air with the hand that's holding the rope, and then with the other hand, with the handy stick, I swing the stick towards Sunny's shoulder to put pressure on him. Once he moves forward and out on the circle, I take away the pressure and I drop the stick and I drop my hand and I just walk in a circle with him. I do a lot of yielding the hindquarters. Part of this is for respect, and so Sunny can learn my body position, which will really help for working at liberty. And then it also helps him change directions. I ask him to back up pretty much every time that he stops and yields his hindquarters, because although I really do like that he yields well and he walks up to me, it makes it a little difficult to work on the second stage of lunging for respect, where they actually change directions really quickly out on the circle and they really get down and they pivot on their hind legs. So it's good that he comes up to me, but I also want him to learn that I only want him to come up to me when I ask versus just when he wants to. So I ask him to back up pretty much every time after I yield his hindquarters. Before every ride, I make sure to flex him, just making sure he's really soft with his neck and his mouth. So I just stand on the side and I pull tension on the reins or the lead rope until he gives with his nose and he touches his belly or the stirrups or the girth. I have Tristan holding him and I flex Sunny to the side that I want to get on, and then I put my foot in the stirrup and then I just get on him. I put my other foot in the stirrup and I make sure I move around, just kind of getting him used to me being on his back. With new young horses, often people get really stiff because they're really nervous, and then this makes the horses really nervous. So you really want to move around and loosen up, and then this helps the horse loosen up as well. Sunny was a little bit nervous here because he's very responsive to the person lunging him, and here he's really looking at the handy stick and just really flinchy. So I actually had Tristan go and put the handy stick down at first, just so Sunny can pay a little bit more attention to Tristan's body language versus just the handy stick. And I had done a ton of desensitizing with the handy stick, but I think this was just something new for him, and so he was just a bit nervous. So the handy stick is pretty much just an extension of our bodies. It's really good to desensitize the horses so they're not really flinchy. And Sunny, he's really desensitized to the handy stick, but I think since it was just a new situation, me being on his back, he was getting a little worried about it. So we actually put it back for now. So Tristan sent me out on the circle, and Tristan is pretty much just keeping me at a constant distance from him, and I'm teaching Sunny all of the commands that I want him to know while I'm riding. So I'm teaching him to turn to the left or right using the bit or pressure on his nose, and then I'm also going to work on a lot of stopping. And I do this by sitting really deep in my saddle and applying gentle pressure on Sunny's mouth, as well as using my words, so I really tell him, whoa. And he's going to learn that every time I sit deep in my saddle and say, whoa, this means stop. And eventually he'll get really good at this, and I won't even need to use my reins to pull back to make him stop. Since Tristan doesn't have the handy stick, Sunny invades Tristan's space a lot more than if he did have the stick. So this is definitely just a good reminder for me that I need to work more on Sunny respecting people's space. So here Tristan is getting Sunny to move out of his space so that Tristan isn't feeling crowded by Sunny's shoulder. And this is something that the handy stick is really helpful for. So eventually we do incorporate the handy stick for this exercise. Onto a trot here, and I just post and I hold onto the horn just in case he were to spook or bolt or start bucking. I'd be pretty safe, and this pretty much just gives me more security so that I'm not worried about falling off. And I do ride holding the horn for a long time after this, just because I really want to make sure I get a great foundation on Sunny and he never has the opportunity to buck me off or to bolt and spook and have me fall off, because that's just a really bad lesson for them to learn. So I do just ride holding the horn for security, as well as I'm actually more comfortable riding in my English saddles. I feel like my leg is stronger while I'm riding in English stirrups. When I'm riding in a Western saddle, I do feel a little bit more disconnected from the horse. It's harder for me to get my leg pressure consistent, and I feel like I move back and forth a lot more in a Western saddle than when I'm riding English. So when I'm riding Sunny, I often do just hold onto the horn just to make sure that when I do fall off balance, he's not going to have an opportunity to throw his head down and buck me off. So you'll see me holding onto the horn pretty much throughout this lesson. While I'm doing these trotting exercises, I make sure to do one rein stops a lot. I really want Sunny to know that it doesn't matter the pace that he's going. Anytime that I want, I can ask for a halt. And so I make sure to flex him and make sure he's soft on both sides, and that I can turn him the other way and get him walking when I decide to. Ask for a trot again, and I post here. I always have one hand on the horn and then one hand ready to do a one rein stop. I also practice teaching him how to halt with pulling back with both hands, so not always just a one rein stop. I think this is important because since I have learned pretty much my whole life that in order to get a horse to halt, you pull back on both reins, I think it's important for him to know this early on as well, because say if I do get in a situation where he's bolting, right now my first reaction is going to be to pull back on the reins, and so I want him to understand that this means to stop. I've also been getting better at incorporating the one rein stop into my own riding, and so I've been trying to learn that my first reaction should be a one rein stop versus a two rein stop, but it is still my habit to do a two rein stop. So I'm working with him on both methods. I had Tristan walk a really big circle, so it was as if I was riding Sunny on my own and we were just riding around the entire circumference of the round pen. So I had Tristan here for security, as well as in the Quentin Anderson training method. At first, when he's starting colts, he has a helper in the arena to reinforce those cues that the horse had already learned on the ground. So for changing directions and stopping and backing up, as well as disengaging the hindquarters, Sunny has already learned all of that on the ground with somebody on the ground with him. So Tristan is able to reinforce those cues while I'm asking those cues in the saddle. I had Tristan take me off the lead line and grab the handy stick, and I started on a nice walk very close to Tristan as if he was still on the lead line. And this really helped because Sunny was still paying attention to Tristan and watching his body language and watching all of his cues. So I could add in the new cues while I was riding with something that was still familiar for Sunny. So this was just a really great combination. It worked really well for Sunny. Like right here, I asked for a halt. Tristan disengaged his hindquarters. And I asked for that two rein stop, and then I flexed him. So then I asked for a trot, and I'm still pretending as if I'm on the lead line, so I keep a smaller circle around Tristan and I don't go out into the full round pen yet. And I make sure I'm able to ask for a halt whenever I want with that one rein stop, and he just did so well, even with all of this wind right now. And Tristan rubs him with the handy stick, and I just flex him and tell him good boy. And I ask for a trot again in the other direction. He's got a great trot. He was just really moving out well, and he carries me really well. And he's just got a lot of strength and really covers a lot of ground with his stride. I ask for another one rein stop, and I wait for him to soften, and then I ask for flexion on the other side. And you can see there he kind of flinches a little bit from something spooky in the bushes, and so this is definitely another safety measure when you're riding horses that you're a little bit nervous on. You You really want to make sure you can shut them down with that one rein stop whenever you need. So it's important to do a lot of one rein stops at every gait. Here I'm actually trying figure eights, so Tristan is really helping here by giving him the cues for changing direction, because Sunny would get kind of stuck while I was turning him with his shoulder, and so Tristan would wave the handy stick. Once he would change directions, Tristan would switch hands with the handy stick, point in the direction, and put pressure on Sunny's hind end. Tristan comes out in front and gets in front of the drive line, has him change direction, points, and puts pressure on with the handy stick. And then what I'm doing while I'm riding is I'm opening up the door with my inside hand, I'm putting pressure on with my outside leg. Then once he changes direction, I release these cues and I change hands. And I release the pressure with my legs. And he did really well. He was definitely getting the exercise much more, and it was very helpful to have Tristan here to put pressure on when Sunny wasn't really listening to me when I was trying to turn him while under saddle. So it was definitely very helpful to have Tristan here on the ground. Then I start working on outside turns, and this was another exercise that was very helpful to have somebody on the ground to put pressure on when I wasn't able to get the response that I wanted. So here I'm turning in, and he turned in well, and then I turn to the outside, and Tristan puts pressure on Sunny's shoulder, and then once he turns his shoulder, he puts pressure on the hind end to get him to move away with his hind end. This really helps when horses get kind of sticky, like when they have their head turned but their body isn't exactly turning and they're still pushing out with their shoulder. It helps to have somebody on the ground to put pressure on that shoulder to get them to move off of the pressure that you're applying while under saddle. So here he was really helpful at putting pressure on his shoulder to get him to do that outside turn. And then I was able to get him to trot and move off the pressure from my leg. So I do an inside turn here, he helps me disengage the hindquarters there, and then I'm able to do that outside turn pretty well. Once again, I do an inside turn, he disengages the hindquarters, and Tristan helps me there by putting pressure on the hind end. Sunny did so well in this lesson. I was so proud of him. I couldn't stop smiling because he just was really getting the lesson, and he didn't try anything like bucking or bolting or rearing. We really had a great ride together. So this was just so wonderful, and I couldn't wait for my next rides on him. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. If you guys like this video, check out the other videos on my channel, like and subscribe, and join me here next time. If you guys have any advice about colt starting and starting horses under saddle, please let me know in the comments. If you've ever tried the Clinton Anderson colt starting method, definitely let me know about your experience, and I'm just so happy to connect with you guys.